If you're looking for a simple way to up the audio quality on your videos or podcasts, you've probably stumbled across the £300 DJI Mic. But is it actually necessary to spend that much to get good audio? Or can this £40 alternative actually compete? The answer is this way. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and you can probably see that I look a bit ridiculous because I'm mic'd up with two different mics on this video. The first one here is the DJI Mic and the second one is the Ulanzi J12. There is an absolutely enormous gulf in price between these two mic solutions, and my aim today is to compare the two and work out whether the cheaper one can actually hold a candle to the more expensive, more professional DJI Mic. So first up, we've got the heavyweight, the DJI Mic. Along with the Rode Wireless Go 2, this is probably the most well-known wireless lavalier style mic kit that you can get to hook up to multiple devices. It's got a lot of features and it needs to have because it's expensive. What I love about this is that it comes with literally everything you need in the box to hook it up to either a phone, a tablet, a computer, or a camera. Everything you need is right here. You get two transmitters and one receiver, plus adapters for a camera cold shoe mount, an iPhone lightning adapter, and a USB-C adapter. This does come with a couple of extra accessories as well that don't fit in the charging case. So you get two wind muffs, which are really useful for cancelling out some of that wind noise if you're outdoors. And you also get a 3.5mm cable, which is what you use to connect it to a camera. And it also comes with a pouch that lets you put the charge case and those extra accessories in it. So when we talk about everything in one place that you need, the DJI Mic absolutely nails that. The out-of-the-box operation is great. To make this a fair test, the audio you're listening to here is deliberately unedited. I haven't changed any of the settings on the DJI Mic. This is as it came out of the box, and the reason I wanted to do that was because the Ulanzi doesn't let you change any settings. It's fair to say if you wanted to play around with the settings, you could maybe get better results out of this, but the whole point here is that we want something that's quick and easy. So when I called this the heavyweight, I definitely mean the heavyweight. Considering the small size, this has got some real heft to it, and you're going to know about it if this is in your pocket. Don't get me wrong, it's still small, but when we compare it to the Ulanzi in a minute, this actually feels pretty big. But you get a lot in the package for that extra size. You get two wireless transmitters and a receiver, which has that built-in OLED touchscreen, so it lets you change all of the settings for the mic directly from there. You haven't got to go to an app or anything like that like you do on something like the Rode Wireless Go 2. Everything can be done on the fly. The menu system is really intuitive. I didn't actually have to look at any instructions to work out how the settings worked on this, which is always a great sign of a well-designed menu system. You can change the transmitter and the receiver gain levels all right from the receiver itself. It's super easy to use and I love that. The other great feature about this is that the transmitters themselves have built-in internal recording. You might be able to notice on here that I've got this red light on my transmitter, which shows that I've activated the internal recording function. What's great about that is you don't have to worry if there's any interference between the transmitter and the receiver, because you've always got a backup recording that's recording directly into the mic. That is a really useful feature to have, especially if you're getting further away from the camera, which obviously these mic systems are designed really well to do. You can also activate through the settings the ability to record a backup track, which is 6 decibels lower than what you're recording at, just in case you accidentally record something too loud and it blows the volume out. Furthermore, you can record both mics together on a single mono track, or you can actually separate them and record them in stereo, so you have each mic on a separate track. That's really good for something like podcast scenarios where you've got two different people mic'd up who may talk at different volumes, have different vocal tones, and then you can edit those two tracks separately. DJI advertises up to 250 meters of range for this, which is absolutely insane distance. You're not even going to be able to see yourself on the camera getting that far away. I haven't tested it that far away, but I can confirm that you can get very, very far from the camera and the receiver will still pick up your voice no problem. DJI rates the battery life for each transmitter as around about 5 hours, and the receiver is similar, maybe slightly lower, but with the charging case, you're going to get 15-hour battery life from each of these. That really covers you for a day's shooting. I can't really imagine too many scenarios where you would need more battery life than that, and certainly it's never run out on me. It's £289 on Amazon. It's an expensive product. You get a lot of settings, a lot of features in here. It's more of a pro level device, so if you are just planning to use it as it is out of the box and not play around with all the settings, then you're not really taking advantage of what you're paying for. And that's where something like this comes in. The Ulanzi J12 really does a lot of what the DJI Mic does for a tiny fraction of the price. Again, this setup here, £40. And for that £40, you get two wireless transmitters, a receiver, and a charging case. A lot of the core functionality of the DJI Mic you get in this package here, and it's actually a smaller, lighter package than the DJI Mic. You might say a little bit too light. This does feel cheaper, and it should, because it is a lot cheaper, but you do feel that. Having said that, in your pocket, this is going to be a lot less noticeable than the DJI, so that's a good thing. The DJI Mic is really easy to use out of the box, there's no doubt, but the Ulanzi J12 is as plug and play as you can get. You literally take out 1 or 2 transmitters from the box, you take out the receiver and plug it into your phone, you record, no settings to change, done. So you simply don't have the settings on this that you have on the DJI Mic. There's no way to change the settings on these mics. They are as they come. And what you're listening to now is the audio out of the Ulanzi J12, straight out of the box, plugged into my phone, so you can hear what that sounds like. One thing you can do on this, which you can't actually do on the DJI Mic, is there's a little button on the transmitters which lets you toggle between 3 levels of noise cancelling. So you haven't got a big screen with lots of settings, but you're in a noisy environment and you just need to press one button 1, 2 or 3 times, and it's going to toggle through those levels of noise cancelling for you. The battery life on this is actually even better than the DJI Mic. Each transmitter will give you 7 hours on a charge, and with the charging case you get 30 hours of battery life. The DJI Mic was plenty for me, but it's nice to know that this will last even longer. You get a 20-meter range, which means you can go up to 20 meters away from the receiver with your transmitter and still broadcast audio, and that is still plenty far enough away from the receiver. Even though it's less than the DJI Mic, you'll still be pretty small on camera if you're 20 meters away from it. Some of the downsides to using this compared to the DJI Mic is that the only option for fixing this onto you is to use the clip, so there's no magnetic option to hide it inside a shirt. It doesn't come with any wind muffs, so if it's a windy day outdoors you're going to have to use that noise cancellation button, but that will slightly degrade the quality of your audio. And the other thing to consider about this is that when you buy it you have to choose either the Lightning or the USB-C model. So it only comes with one receiver, and that would either be a Lightning receiver, which I'm using at the moment plugged into my iPhone, or a USB-C receiver which will plug into a USB-C device. The advantage of the DJI Mic is that it comes with multiple different receivers for any device you might want to plug it into, so it's more versatile. The other thing you can't change on this is that it will automatically record both mics if you're using both in a podcasting or interviewing scenario onto one mono track. So you can't record them in stereo to edit the separate tracks separately like you can on the DJI. That's something to think about. So let's look at some comparisons between the two of these devices. First up, we're going to look at the difference in sound quality. You've heard both already on the video, but now we're going to hear them side by side. As you can see, both mics are clipped in a pretty much identical position on my shirt, which should give an accurate reading between the two. What you're listening to now is the DJI Mic. As I said, this is straight out of the box settings. I haven't changed anything on here. It's straight out of the DJI Mic, and this is what that sounds like. Now, what you're listening to here is the Ulanzi J12, again straight out of the box settings. You can't change the settings on it, so it's obviously straight out of the box settings, and this is what that sounds like. So look, you can hear a difference between the two. The DJI Mic does sound better. If you play around with some of those settings, you're going to make it sound better still. But if we're asking the question of whether the Ulanzi J12 does enough to compare favourably with its much more expensive cousin, then I think the answer is yes. There's an argument that it sounds maybe just slightly thinner and more tinny than the DJI Mic. I'm not an audiophile, but you can only really notice that when you compare the two side by side. And if you just listen to the Ulanzi in isolation, you wouldn't realise that you're using such a cheap mic. As we've touched on, the DJI is also bigger and heavier, making it a little bit harder to travel with, although still compact. If you don't want to spend time editing out noise, the built-in noise cancellation on the Ulanzi is great. The DJI Mic has better range, but the Ulanzi will get you far away enough from the camera in most situations. These are both easy devices to use out the box. The Ulanzi is probably easier because you haven't got to worry about any settings, but the DJI is more flexible because you can connect it to different devices. The backup recording feature on the DJI, where you can record straight into the transmitter, is really very handy indeed. Just in case anything happens with your audio, you spent a long time working on a video, you don't want to find out that there's something wrong with the audio afterwards, and you don't have that feature on the Ulanzi, unfortunately. So what's the verdict? Can this £40 mic set actually compare with something that's almost £300 like this? It depends on your use case. If you're a pro level user, this is not going to be good enough for you. You can't change any settings, you can't record the separate mics onto different stereo tracks. It's very basic, but that is where the genius of something like this lies. It is so basic for people who just want better audio on their videos and they want it to be as simple as possible. This is perfect. The sound quality is better out of the DJI Mic, especially if you play around with some of the settings, but if you're only comparing against your iPhone or camera's built-in microphone, either of these is going to be a huge upgrade. And £40 is a much easier starting point to swallow than 300. So if you're an amateur or hobbyist, travel vlogger, podcaster, social media user, I would probably go for this. If you're a professional or you're looking to upgrade from something like this, you are going to get a lot more in the box here. So it is an upgrade and it is worth the money, but you need to be taking advantage of all the features to get the value out of it. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you liked the video. If you did, do me a huge favor and hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. Let me know in the comments which mic out of these two you would go for and why. Thanks, and see you on the next one.